Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. I'm back at the 1997 Ranger 461 and we're going to do part 3 on this bass boat makeover, or upgrading and updating this 1997 model Ranger. So something that I've been putting off for a while has been the power poles. So we're going to install 2 power poles and put the pumps in and just go over all that and kind of get into the battery compartment and where I'm going to set up all that. You know, these boats back in the day didn't have as much room in there, so you got to kind of strategically place things. But I've got some room to play with because I went from a 36 volt, which requires 3 12 volt batteries, to a 24 volt motor guide trolling motor. So this is going to be a little bit easier because I'm going to have some room to play with once I pull that extra 12 volt battery out. Before I get into it, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys tuning into the channel, and drop a comment down below if you like this video, and I'd love to hear from you guys on your thoughts on this whole process, the makeover of this boat and updating it and upgrading it with all these different parts and different things like that, to some items that we currently have available to us that we didn't have back in 1997. So also hit the bell so that you're notified anytime I drop a video on the channel. In the future, I'd like to upload more frequently and more consistently, but for now, we're just gonna get them out there as quickly as we can. Let's get into this. I wanted to add a TH Marine Atlas hydraulic jack plate, but for now, I just went ahead and had the guys mount the power pole bracket, kind of what we call in a sandwich position. So essentially it's sandwiched between the transom and the motor, and it's just bolted right on there. So really works well in this position, and for right now, until I get a jack plate, this is gonna be the way to go for me. I went ahead and installed one of the power poles about a week ago. Of course, the lines aren't installed, and the pumps are not in there, but I bolted it onto the power pole bracket just to kind of speed up everything. Mind you, I'm not a certified technician. I've just seen it done. I've mounted a couple of these poles in the past, and if I can do it, then you could too. It's actually quite simple. So for right now, since the pole is not hooked up to the pumps, this can actually, the spike can actually bleed down. So I just went ahead and took a bungee cord to kind of secure it for now while I'm working around the boat. So here is the battery compartment in the back of my Ranger 461. I've got my cranking battery here, obviously my oil reservoir, because that is a 150 EFI motor there. We had a 36 volt trolling motor, so we've got 3 12 volts in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that one out of here, this one, so that I can mount my PowerPole hydraulic pumps right here. I also plan to put a PowerPole charge unit and pull this one out of here, and that way it'll have the latest and greatest, the finest charger on the market, in my opinion, put in there as well. But first, we're gonna go ahead and install the other power pole on the other side. But here's a PowerPole Sportsman 2. It's an 8-footer, and I just pulled the staples out. We're just gonna go ahead and remove it from the box. They pack these things extremely well. So okay, so got it out of the box, setting it up there, and then they give you all the mounting hardware that you need. This is adapter plate kit, unbraced. That's what I have, is an unbraced one here. So go ahead and pull all those guys out. Basically, you need one of these bolts, and then one of these kind of concaved washers with a rubber back on it, and you just slide that on there like that. And then on the other side, you need one of these brass nylon threaded nuts, and then they give you another washer. Go ahead and get those all set. I just go ahead and get them ready. I like to get them ready like this so that I can reach over there with one hand and put them in place. Kind of show you how I do that here real quick. Got them all lined up, ready to go. Pick this bad boy up and pull these fittings out and remove the foam bottom on there. And what I'm gonna do next is So I'm gonna grab my power pole like this, grab one of these nuts with the washer already on there, put that in there in place. Just leaning it up against my body, I can get the whole threading process started. Get another one in there right quick. Once you get one in there, it's a lot easier. Then it kind of stabilizes the whole process. Just like that. Now you can kind of let go. Now we're just gonna put this guy in there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this bungee cord right here so that it doesn't deploy while I'm working on it. So hopefully you can see this. I've got the bolt, washer, brass nylon threaded nut, and it just gets easier once the more of them you get on there, the easier it is, because obviously it doesn't take both hands to hold it in place. Once I get that in there, I've got a 9/16 socket and a little 9/16 wrench, and we're just going to go ahead and begin tightening this bad boy down. I'm not going to get it super tight because I want to adjust it. I'm just going to get it semi-tight for now. Once I get it nice and snug, I kind of want to look and see that it's perfectly vertical. That's just kind of the way I want it. And now I can tighten it down. See, it's going to want to lean left or right, so I want to make sure as I'm snugging it in place, and I just kind of alternate these bolts. Okay, now we need to remove that 12-volt battery. Okay, I know it's pretty silly that I've had this battery in here when I've been running a 24-volt battery system, but I just kind of like to do everything and knock it out all at once, so I've kind of put this thing aside for the time being. And anyways, I'm just now getting that third 12-volt battery out of there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this battery tray out. I have plans on putting 2 lithiums to run my trolling motor off of, and if I do that, I'm gonna need PowerPole Charge that can charge lithiums, and the current battery charger that's in there doesn't do that, so it just makes sense. And I am gonna put the PowerPole Charge in. I just think like it's gonna probably be the best thing and easiest thing to do, because once I mount the pumps right here, I think it's gonna be harder to get to that charger, so we'll just go ahead and swap out the PowerPole Charge, put it in place of that one, and that way I can do that first and then get, mount the poles. I've been running one of these the last 2 years and haven't had a problem with it. It works exceptionally well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that battery charger out, disconnect all the leads that charge those batteries, and just get this thing going. Okay, that was a good battery charger. Still really works well. Probably have to get online and sell it, but it won't work for lithium batteries, which, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and put some lithiums in here, which will be great. The fact that it'll hold more power, it'll be a whole lot more lighter, so I'll be able to put 2 lithiums in this corner here, 12 volt a piece, give me 24 volts. So pretty excited about that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the PowerPole Charge in, but I wanted to do a quick, just see what the difference is. I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this one versus the one I just pulled out of my boat. Total weight looks like 10.05, 10 pounds, 5 ounces. And we'll see just how much this one weighs. Old technology versus new technology. 1574. So I'm gonna get a 5-pound gain by utilizing the PowerPole Charge, but clearly that's not the only reason that I'm gonna run the PowerPole Charge. The PowerPole Charge is able to maintain my batteries when I'm running down the lake. If my alternator is charging my cranking and my cranking is already topped off, then it'll start to disperse power to my trolling motor batteries and top them off. And what it'll do is it'll move power around the different batteries if If one is low, they'll move it and then just bring that one up and just kind of maintain a nice level of power based upon the power that's coming in off the alternator when you're running from spot to spot and different things like that. That way you don't have any power shortages. It'll maintain your batteries just to an amazing degree, like we've never had anything else in the fishing industry. So anyways, gonna put the PowerPole Charge in there. Now I'm hoping I didn't bite off more than I can chew, just because I've got a limited amount of time. It's already 3 o'clock. Just had a interesting thing happen behind the barn over here. We had a down power line and there was a fire out there, and I was trying to put it out with a friend of ours, and ended up calling 911, and the volunteer fire department showed up. Anyways, it's really took a chunk out of my day, but we're getting right into it. Here we go. Another great thing about the PowerPole Charge is this will charge a 24-volt system or a 36-volt system, and you can go in with the app, and since I'm going to put lithiums over there later on, I can program it to charge 2 lithiums over there and then 1 regular lead acid or AGM on this side. So it's a smart battery charger. So definitely great for that, because utilizing other chargers, a lot of times you can only tell it to do one thing or the other, and you have to have a separate charger for your AGMs or whatever. And this will run a 36 or 24 volt system, and keep it all topped off. Okay, we got it screwed into that little back plate right there. That's the main power cable right there. You've got your charger terminals, your wall plug-in or extension cord plug-in. Okay, so I've got my PowerPole Charge mounted in place, and got it hooked up over there, and all the extra connections to do a 24 volt system all ready to go. And now I need to get into the PowerPole mounting brackets. Looks like I opened the bottom here. That's the actual plate that we use for mounting the PowerPole pumps. This is the mounting hardware here, all that good stuff. And I've already got one plate in there. That's kind of how the direction I think I'm gonna go with it. Just trying to get an actual look on how that's gonna go, and I think that's the way it's gonna fit. So here is the pump, also known as the HPU by PowerPole. There we go. Set that off to the side, and then we've got the lanyard switch, and then the one you can mount on your console dash, those switches. This would kind of drop down in here and be mounted like that. So clearly there's not enough room there. So I'll put a little dab of silicone in each one of the screw holes, so it just bites a little bit better. And what I mean by bites a little bit better, once you screw it in there, it keeps it from backing up. Just a little bit more, almost like a nylon bolt or nut, and keeps, our boats get a lot of vibration. Put a little silicone in those holes before you put the screws down on it, and it'll help things from backing up. And that's a really helpful thing. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and use these bolts and put on these rubber coated washers, and that's going to actually mount the pump to this L bracket. Okay, so I kind of got ahead of myself. PowerPole gives you this little rubber strap here, and it goes sandwiches that between the pump and the L bracket, which really helps to absorb a lot of that vibration that I was talking about earlier. Okay, here we are at the Splashwell, and this is not quite level, but essentially these hydraulic hoses here have to pass through, just like this hole here. It's got to pass through here, so I'm gonna have to drill a hole so that I could run these hoses through. I know that's kind of, drilling a hole in your bass boat is kind of a freaky scenario, but that's what's got to happen. I've done it before. The hoses weren't as big, and the hole that they want you to drill wasn't as large either. But it was, they require a 3/4 inch hole, and then there's a little grommet that fits on there. You put a little silicone around it, and it seals it up nice and tight. And they need to be 1.25 inches apart, so that's what I'm trying to get set up here. All right, moment of truth. We're gonna drill into the transom of the boat. I've went ahead and put a level piece of duct tape on there. I actually ran a level on it, and then I don't know if you can see it, but I've got some white crayon markings, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches this way, 1.5 inches that way. So I'm going to put, this is to separate the tubes by 1.25 inches, so I just went ahead and give it a little bit more room. And we're going to go ahead and give it a go. I've got a small drill bit to drill as a pilot hole, and then I got to go straight with the 3/4 inch. Kind of scary, but we got to do it. So we got to run these lines. It's the last thing I need to do. Then I need to plug them into the pumps and prime them, and we'll be good to go. I run it in reverse, and then I run it forward. That way it doesn't stress crack out. That's some freaky stuff. Putting holes in the back of my transom of my boat. It's gonna turn out great. Trust me on that. All right, we've got our holes drilled. Run this hydraulic tubing through here. The blue hose. Now we're gonna run the hose off of this pump, off of this pole. We've got our tubes all ready to go. There is a blue cap over here that says insert up hose here. And they've actually wired, or they've actually printed on there where it shows you which ones you're up and which ones you're down. So this is my up. I'm gonna remove this kind of protective dust sleeve or whatever you want to call it, dust cap. I'm going to remove the blue fitting, and that's how I know I'm inserting the up hose here. I'm going to pull back on it. All right, I've inserted the blue hose. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff going on. I've inserted the blue hose in the up fitting, and it says to finger tighten till you can't anymore, and then a 1/4 turn with a 5/8 inch wrench. So 1/4 turn, almost there. I think that's it. Okay, 1/4 turn, 5/8 inch wrench. Now repeat the same thing with the other. I got it all wired up. These are the PowerPole hydraulic tubes, and I think they're just gonna make it underneath the lid once I close it. Got all the wiring done. It could use some cleaning up. It's fine, but it could use a little bit of touching up and use a couple more zip ties to kind of tidy things up a little bit. But I've got the PowerPole Charge in, I've got the pumps in, and tomorrow I'm going fishing, so I'll have to do different things like prime the pumps and different things like that. And then also I'll also have to use the PowerPole app and go ahead and sync everything up to the lanyard and the push button, so that when I'm at the console, I can hit it, and I can drop the poles at the console, or I can hit the lanyard. I'm also gonna have some foot switches up at the front. Haven't put those on just yet. As you can see, it's kind of a mess right here, but one more thing I need to do is I need to take the silicone sealant and just a little dab will do you, kind of. So just running a little bit of silicone all around here like this. I think it's easier to just kind of put it on an applicator instead of trying to run the tube in there. kind of just show you what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna fit that little fitting inside there. I've got quite a bit right there. Go ahead and have to clean up some of that. So in essence, that's it. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and put some silicone on each one of those fittings. I'm gonna take a little cloth and clean that up. Basically those silicone, basically the silicone's gonna kind of keep the water from getting in there, but also keeping those little fittings there in place. And obviously that also keeps the fiberglass from chafing the tubes or the hoses. And then I'm gonna take some zip ties and kind of tidy that up, probably one here and one here, and that way it'll all be good to go. Man, that's kind of a long video. I do thank everybody for watching this video and following along with this whole process of updating, renovating, and making over this 1997 Ranger 461. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell. It'll notify you when I post another video. And I'd love to hear from you guys, so drop a comment down below. And until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.